share this story, and I really do hope and know people will gain and get something from it. So tell me, Not This Widow.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a background to the book.
So I wrote this book because I lost my husband last year on the 21st of January. It was sudden, it wasn't expected. And you would think that you would go through the normal things of, mourning your loss. But I found very quickly, i.e. about 48 hours quickly, that I wasn't going to be given the opportunity just to focus on the loss of my husband, or for my children and I to just focus on that loss. And what I found was there was a lot of expectation, unreasonable expectation from my husband's side of the family, not all of them, and I do make that quite clear in the book, that it's not all my husband's family, but a significant number who did the usual, what I didn't know was the usual thing of vilifying the widow, abusing the widow, accusing the widow. I didn't know at all that this was even a thing until it happened to me.
Yeah.
And it was through that experience that I thought, how come nobody's ever said anything? And I wanted to shed light on not only my experience just for shedding light's sake, but for people to be aware of what it means to lose somebody, how we can support people who are grieving, how to grieve authentically, all the things that we don't do, which is, cross-culturally. This is not, because originally I thought this is what happens to African widows. But I realized that the only element of it that's different is maybe the spiritual side, where as an African widow you're automatically accused of killing your husband spiritually. That's a whole other story. But fundamentally there are some common trends that don't discriminate. It's just everywhere. So it's part memoir, part my story, and then part self-help on how do we deal with grief and how do we redefine ourselves after widowhood.
Okay, so obviously you mentioned about some of the things. Can you give us some examples of some of the things
that happened?
Yeah, because you mentioned there was, the timeline as well, I think is key. So you said 48 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when my husband passed away, I was, we were at the hospital. By the time we'd reached the hospital, they had said that they weren't successful in saving my husband. So obviously you go through having to notify family members, and in itself is so traumatic. So that having been done, there were, and I don't want to give too much away, but there were certain family members that wanted to get in touch with me, which is absolutely normal, i.e. on my husband's side. But I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out that I was in no fit state to engage in conversation with anybody.
Yeah.
And that was used as being symbolic of my disrespect, of my disregard for the family and my contempt for the family. And I had never felt about my husband's family like that at all. So within a space of 48 hours, meetings were going on, to discuss my behavior. And then the attacks started, and all these meetings were going on, and it was a very interesting experience, for want of a better expression.
So I know you did mention that, you did say that in terms of this wasn't a cultural or whether you're African type situation, but let's just put it into a bit more context. What background were you?
So I'm from Ghana,
okay.
So I do explain this all the time that yes, I was born in Ilford in Essex. But if you ask me where I'm from, I'm very Ghanaian.
Yeah, I can hear that.
And my husband was from Sierra Leone, so we weren't from the same country.
Okay, all right. And some of the family members that, some of the family members that you had some of these, should I say, issues with, prior to your husband passing away, did you get on with them? Were they? Did
But
you have a good relationship?
that's the irritating and interesting thing, because my husband had been unwell for some time, and when I say some time, I'm talking nearly 4 years.
Yes, but his death was still sudden.
But his passing was sudden.
Yeah.
But, however, the ones that were making the most noise, I hadn't seen them.
No, it's like that.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen them. I don't recall any of those particular relatives ever ringing to see how my husband was doing, how I was doing, how we were coping, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the moment he passed away, they suddenly realized that they were related and that they had a voice.
Yeah.
So, you know, they were just not a part of our life up until that point.
I'm just going to pause for a minute. For those of you joining us, please, as we go, if you have any questions for our guest, please post your questions and we will take them as we go along. If you would like to call in, which is what I always prefer to chat, call us on 07539 968 143. That's 07539 968 143. Shout out to Facebook, Instagram, the one Instagram. Shout out to you for joining us. We're taking questions about the book Not This Widow, which is available on pre-order now. It's going to be out on the 21st and the launch is going to be on the 24th. So we're talking about so Dilys is sharing an experience about what she went through after the loss of her husband. And so we're taking questions on that. Okay, so what kind of things, I mean, how did you I've just got too many questions because I just feel like...
I know, I mean, a lot of people find that element of it's so shocking that you've done exactly what everybody does. They're kind of at a loss for words, thinking, what?
Yeah, how did that? Yeah.
If I'm honest,
hi caller, you're on air.
Hi, do you know you got off air?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's gone off.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome.
I'll deal with it during the break. Okay, so yeah.
Where were we? I think, I was saying that people do find that element of what I went through shocking. If I'm honest, when it first started, I didn't take it seriously. I don't think my brain could quite fathom that what I thought was, what I was being told was being done was actually being done. So it was when one of my husband's aunts called me, who very sadly, she passed away 3 weeks ago. She was, unwell. So she was lovely. I mean, she was very, very close to my husband, and she was very, very close to me too, and very protective. And it's only when she called me beside herself, saying that she'd been dragged into this feud that she didn't even know was brewing, that she was basically aiding and abetting me to disrespect the family. And this was within days of my husband passing, and she was saying, because everyone's saying they're trying to get hold of me and I won't take anybody's phone calls. And I'm thinking, to be honest, the first phone call from her, I was quite dismissive. And I just said, Auntie, you're not well, just ignore them, whoever they are, blah, blah, blah. And I left it at that, until she called back, and then other things started to blow up. And I realised that, so this is really a thing here. So it wasn't long before I was just thrown into that whole drama that was being cooked up for whatever reason. And it's like the best excuse that they could come up with was, we were calling you, weren't picking up your phone. as something as pathetic as that.
So what would you say? So if you think about, what would you say? Having gone through and having some time has passed of it, if you were to put a finger on what their issue was, what was their issue?
I don't think that there was never an issue. I
Okay.
think it is part of a culture
Mm-hmm.
that permits a woman who has lost her husband
Mm-hmm.
to be made a victim for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the answer to that because I've seen it happen in different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm in a few bereavement groups, as I think I may have mentioned before, on social media and what have you, and I'm seeing and hearing different stories from women of different ages, backgrounds, nationalities, and what have you. This common thread that we are not allowed. It's like we're not allowed to grieve in peace. There must be somebody that's got to start some kind of drama for whatever
Stake
reason.
claim on
Yes.
something. Yeah. So would you say? So I always wonder: does this start with money? Is it a money issue?
I think it's money.
Mm.
I think a lot of it is to do with money,
Yeah.
and I think that a lot of it is to do with hitting you when you're at your most vulnerable,
Yes.
because then you'll be less resistant to any suggestions or to the bullying.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mhm.
think that was very much the assumption, because people that knew me and Eddie knew how we were with each other,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore, it would not be unreasonable to assume that Eddie's passing would hit me, and it would hit me hard.
Okay.
So I think the thought was, and again, because I wasn't from the same country,
Okay.
and I think there's a problem with West Africans and Ghanaians, and I'll explain.
Yes.
We seem to have this thing that Ghanaians are really nice, calm people.
So where they got that from?
Well, not when you're dealing with this one.
Not this widow.
Not this widow.
Yeah.
And I think there was an assumption
Mm-hmm.
that I could be bullied
Mm-hmm.
for two reasons. One, because I'm Ghanaian.
Okay, you're not from the same.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I happen to be Ghanaian.
Yeah.
And also the fact
Do you
that
think if you were Nigerian, it would
it
have been
wouldn't,
different?
I think the flex would have been different. 100%.
Why?
For obvious reasons. Like I said, people assume that
Okay,
Ghanaians,
yeah,
we are the
you say
nice,
that.
calm
Yeah.
ones.
Mhm.
And then the other reason, and I later on found out that my nickname was the English woman,
Yes.
is this snobbery that a lot of us Africans have,
Yeah.
of Africans who are born and raised here and don't go back home. There is an assumption
Yeah.
that we don't know our culture,
Yes.
we don't know who we are,
Mhm.
and therefore there is a element of muumuism
Mhm.
about us,
Foolfulness.
foolfulness
Yeah.
about us, that we're not clued up and we don't know what time it is.
Yeah.
So I think a combination of those two things, or three, the
Mhm.
vulnerability element,
Mhm.
I looked like a good victim on paper.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Wow. Wow. And I always think, thank God the children were not young, because I just imagine and we live in a country where you've got to follow certain rules.
Mhm.
You've got to play by the rules.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're going to find out. Didn't other members of the family who did not agree with the way they were behaving towards you, what did they do about it?
They did
Did
their
they stick
best.
up for you?
They did.
they stand up for you and
They
stuff?
did. I mean, some of Eddie's cousins were fantastic.
Yeah.
His
Are
sister.
you sure they
was
weren't
great.
doing good cop, bad cop?
No,
You know what I mean?
No, they
Yeah.
weren't. No.
Okay.
it was so charged that there would have been no capacity to do that.
Yeah.
You were either in or you were out,
Okay.
because whoever was not in their camp was ostracized, and
Wow,
they
okay.
also had to face the fire.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty intuitive anyway.
Mhm.
There was just too much going on
Mhm.
for that. It wasn't a situation where you could be permitted to sit on the shelf.
Right.
You would have
Okay.
you had to choose,
Mhm.
which master you were going to serve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about the book. So I know some of the things that happened was, without going too much into the book, I guess just from a point of trying to, if there's anyone out there who can sort of identify what kind of things did they try to do, and how did you tackle it? Did you use other members of the family who were on your side to tackle it? How did you tackle it?
I tackled it like a gangster. That's how I tackled it.
Right.
Put it this way, I don't do victim for anybody. And as far as I was concerned, it just wasn't. It was deeper than that. It was also the fact that, and I think I've said this before, that my husband did not know me to be a coward.
That's right.
He did not know his wife to be somebody who would allow herself to be walked over. And I would say that was probably 99.9% of the reason as to why I did not allow myself, aside from maybe my natural persona, to allow myself to be bullied, because essentially that's what it was. So I dealt with it by answering back. I dealt with it by taking a stand and saying that I will not be treated like this. If you do this to other widows, not this one, because I'm not going to take it.
Okay. Now, these people, are they, in your case, were they senior members of the family?
Some of them
Are
were.
they often senior members of the family who
Some
do
of them
this?
were. There were a mixture. There were even some that had married into the family. And I had to tell that one.
Are you serious?
I'm so serious.
The
And-
wives.
And I had to tell
no.
this particular one where to get off. Because I told her, I said, you're a fool. Because you could be standing exactly where I'm standing.
Yeah.
And, you know, and she came with the same, well, nobody could get hold of you. And I just flipped. I just absolutely let her rip that day. I just went absolutely ballistic. Because I'd heard it so much. It was getting so boring in my ears. And I'm thinking, I'm not planning a wedding party. Why the hell would I be available to answer every single goddamn call that would come through on my phone? Who does that? And even culturally, even in their own culture, the person who has been widowed doesn't have that level of Can you imagine how exhausting it is? So in my culture, when people come to visit, you know, they'll come to the house, they will bring a donation, a monetary donation, or, you know, towards the funeral arrangements, or they will bring drinks or food. When you come in, you shake hands from the right, and you go towards the left, but you don't shake the hand of the widow. And the reason for that is because the widow is deemed to be already tired and stressed, and would be more tired looking at the number of people that come through having to shake their hand. Now, if I'm not even supposed to be shaking hands, why would I have my mobile phone with me and be picking it up every time somebody rings? When I put it out on social media that I'd lost my husband, there were in total, if you're counting likes, over 2,000. How could I possibly even answer a tenth of those in that state?
Yeah.
It's just not, you know, it's so unreasonable.
Yeah.
That you know that cannot possibly be the reason. You've got your own agenda, and therefore.
Well, yeah, it's not about that. Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to ask you was that how do, you know, I get the strong person thing, and I get that because I think a little bit like yourself, when I'm attacked, I attack back. That's my natural. Like I don't go and hide.
No.
I don't go and, oh my God, they're attacking me.
No.
I'm like, well, let's go for it.
No.
You know,
No.
may the strongest survive.
Whereas
you know?
with me, I don't attack straight away. I like to be sure that you're sure
Yeah.
that you really want to do this.
Oh no, I attack straight
No,
away.
I really do, because I don't want to misunderstand the signs, even though I know I haven't and I'm not. I like
That's
to
what
be.
apologies are for.
I don't do apologies. They mean nothing to me. So I like to be sure that you're sure. And then if you're sure you want to do this, then we'll do it.
Okay. So anyway, the question I had was, if you, great being a strong person and everything, but there will be moments because you weren't allowed to just grieve and just be in your space to grieve, and then you have the children to deal with, taking on worrying about them, what's happening to them, and all that kind of stuff. Where was your go-to place? Because there would have been moments where you felt a bit, missing your husband, wishing, what would you want you to do if he was here? What would you?
I always knew what Eddie would want me to do.
But my point is, there would have been a moment in time where you would have felt, you might not have shown it to people, but where was your go-to to stay sane and emotionally as balanced as you could? I guess
I was grieving,
Mhm.
and I never stopped grieving.
Mhm.
Yes, they tried to interfere with
Mhm.
my grieving process,
Mhm.
but they were a temporary distraction for some time.
Mhm.
But I can't say ever that there was anything that they did that broke me
Mhm.
or that made me cry.
Okay.
That was never going to happen.
So even them saying things like,
There was nothing that they ever said to me. I got,
what was the worst thing? What
the
was
worst thing that was said to me anonymously, because I mentioned this in the book, where people set up fake Instagram accounts and Facebook. Even
Mhm.
last week somebody posted something on my fan page, and I thought, no, actually I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to delete it. I'm going to
Yeah.
leave it.
Yeah.
Was that they were glad my husband was dead because now my children don't have a father. And no, I did not cry.
Mm.
Because at that point I just thought, it says a lot more about you than it would ever say about me. And
that don't even make sense.
And, I just thought to myself, you really are the dregs of the earth. But like they say, that when the rain falls, it doesn't fall on one man's housetop.
No, it don't.
So I'm a patient person.
Yeah.
It didn't faze me. And in fact, I was getting a barrage of nasty messages. Even the day I was burying my husband, there were messages on Instagram.
Really?
Yes, really. Yes, really. And I believe I've got screenshots of some of them.
Saying what? What could,
Oh, I don't care that my husband is dead.
And these were not people he made enemies with or anything?
How would I know?
Okay. All right.
And to be honest, I think I have an idea
Mhm.
of who these people are.
Mhm.
But, you see, from childhood, and I mention this in a lot of my interviews, I've always had this spirit
Mhm.
in me that's unbreakable.
Mhm.
You can't, if you're ever doing something because you want to see me cry,
Mhm.
it will never happen.
Mhm.
And I feel that my tears, you earn them for you to see them.
Mhm.
So you can't come and dump on me and I'll be crying. It will never happen.
Mhm.
And that's why even, at the funeral, I was very clear on what I wanted to wear.
Mhm.
And I had this humongous hat, which is on the cover of the book. You cannot
Yes,
see my face.
yes.
I'm in dark glasses. I hated being the centre of attention for that reason. And this is me that I've sang on stage before, years ago, and I used to be a singer.
Mhm.
So being the centre of attention, I'm a public speaker, it's not something I'm not used to, but I resented being the centre of attention for that reason.
Yes.
And I didn't want anyone to see my face.
Mm.
I really kind of like hid within myself.
Mm.
So there was nothing, as for things that have been said, I've had the most disgusting things said to me, even about my daughter,
Mhm.
because one of these people contacted
And
my
your daughter,
son.
by the way, is a spitting image
Image of her,
of your husband.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's even worse now that she's taller than me at about
She's
5'11".
absolutely like,
Yeah, complexion,
Yeah.
everything, her legs.
yeah. If you knew him and never knew he had a daughter and you saw her, you'd be like,
Yeah,
either you look like someone I know
100%.
or you're somebody's.
100%. It's like me and my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like my dad with hair
Yeah.
and a booty.
So go on, yeah. It was it.
So yeah, it was. The horrible things that were said were a lot.
Mm.
And I remember there was one occasion, because after the funeral, I was exhausted.
Mm.
And I went to Ghana for about 5 weeks. I
Mhm.
just needed to get away from everything
Yeah.
and everybody.
Mhm.
And, lo and behold, another message pops up. I can't even remember what it said, but I thought, you know what, today I have time. By the time I was done with this person, I knew that it was somebody that was related to my husband. I'm not going to say what I said to them, but they kind of gave themselves away.
Yeah.
And I gave as good as I got. And it was like, well, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I said, no, I'm having some fun here. You started this. I said, so let's keep going
on. Yeah.
You know, so it stopped for a while, and then it started again last week, where a comment was posted on my fan page under the book or the book launch, one or the other. And I thought, I'm not going to delete it. I'm going to leave it there. I said, because what you've done is you have actually validated and authenticated my story by doing this nonsense.
Yeah.
So keep it coming. I said, because that's the best review for my book I could ever have.
Yes.
So keep it coming. So I left it.
So what's been the reaction to your book from these people?
Well, the outlaws is what I like to call them.
Outlaws.
They are not my in-laws,
Yeah.
but my real in-laws have been absolutely amazing.
Okay.
They have been so supportive, and they've said to me, speak your truth. You said,
Mhm.
you're not lying. We
Yeah.
were there. We saw it.
Yes.
So, they've been fantastic, to be honest.
And what about have you had any direct response?
They wouldn't
from-
dare. It would never happen.
Okay.
No. They wouldn't. I think they had a rude awakening on the kind of person I was when it came to planning the funeral, because there
Yeah.
were certain members of the family that I banned from coming there,
Yeah.
which again is very un-African.
Yeah.
You know, you just let any and
Because you had security.
I had
and stuff.
security,
Yeah.
absolutely. I had
Okay.
security for two reasons. One, because I thought I don't want any unsavouries there,
Mhm.
and also because I knew that there would be a lot of people, and there was about 600 people at his funeral. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that amount
Yeah.
of people.
So
But I
to
just
maintain some order.
yeah, and I just thought it
yeah.
would make people feel a little bit more secure,
Yeah.
you know, having that. But you know, I think it was at that point that they realised that this woman is not playing. Because I said to them, I said, if you come there, I will have you removed. But I don't think, because it's not a done thing, you know, even
Yeah.
my mum was worried and thinking, you know, what are people going to say?
Yeah.
You know,
Were there any members of your family, on your side of the family, that felt that, again, going back to culturally, we don't do something, I felt like,
of course.
I know that what they did is terrible, but you can't ban them
Oh,
from
yes.
their family
Oh,
members'
yeah.
funeral.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, I did have that.
Yeah, and how did you respond to your family? Bearing in mind that they're probably not taking sides, they just...
My response was, I know these people and it's my choice.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking your permission, was my response.
Okay.
That I am doing this and I'll do it my way. I said, because if something happens, the only thing you can tell me is, oh, I'm sorry, I should have listened. I'm not interested, because by that time the damage has been done.
Yeah.
And I knew that there were certain people that if they were there, my point was I wouldn't be able to guarantee that they would behave. And under
Okay.
no circumstances was I going to have anybody disrespect the memory of my husband
Mhm.
at that funeral. And that for me took precedent over whatever anybody may or may not think.
Wow. So, guys, for those of you who are just joining us, I'm here with Dilys, and we are actually we're talking about her new book that's coming out called Not This Widow. It's a book she wrote following the death of her husband less than 12 months ago. So just sharing some of the challenges, the experiences, and in-laws turn outlaws, family gone wild, what can I say? Just everyone losing their damn mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. So, were there any members? I always ask this question because you know everyone knows in every family you've got the peacemaker. I call them the peacemaker because the one's like, oh, okay, it's well, just let them have whatever they want, let them do whatever they want. There's always something.
Yeah.
Then you also have the one that like, I wish you would. You're coming for my sister? Come on. Did you have people? Obviously, you have people supporting you, your family, but did you have people that wanted to snatch people?
No.
Oh, why not?
Because again, I think the culture kind of took over. Let's just do this
Okay.
thing really I was the one that was going to snatch people.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so I get that.
I had to advocate for
Yeah.
myself. That was the bottom line, because again,
Yeah.
culturally, the widow doesn't speak. So when we have these family meetings, somebody will speak on behalf of the widow, because it's seen that you're being left to grieve.
What about your siblings? Because you know the thing with siblings is you kind of all grow up together. You kind of all around. So although they just like you, they're still cultured. They're also Western,
Yeah,
and they know that.
okay, so let me explain about my siblings.
Yeah.
I'm the die-hard one.
Come on.
So that's just a fact.
You happen to know. Yeah.
Do you understand? So
yeah, I know that. Yeah.
so there wasn't anyone
Mm.
that could fight like me.
Yeah.
So God
if
forbid
anything,
this-
you'll be the one fighting.
Do you
for them.
understand? So
Yeah, got
because
you.
it was me,
Yeah. I hear that.
I just
can
had
relate to
to,
that.
I just
Yeah.
had to, I just had to do what needed to
Yeah, I
be
can
done.
relate to that. So
100%.
did anybody try to? Because this is where I always feel like sometimes they could potentially. Shout out to those listening to us from Ghana. Yeah, there are people joining us from Ghana.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yes, shout out to that. So did anyone attempt, because this is where people, it's like they lose their mind. They
Mhm.
attempt to maybe reach out to the children, or attempt to try and do anything like that especially if you're not giving them any airtime.
The answer is yes.
Okay, like auntie don't know her place.
No, not
And
not really the
uncle,
aunties. That's
you better
one
mind, watch
particular
out.
person was
Okay.
got like another child of the family to reach out, but thankfully
Mm.
my daughter was not on social media, and I'm just kind of thinking,
Okay.
you've had 3.5 years to do this.
Okay, so guys, we're taking your calls 07539688143. Questions. We're going to talk about, so after the break, after the news, we're going to talk a bit about, because I think one of the things I loved and why I wanted to talk about this I wanted to hear more about the advice that you have for people who are here. What are the kind of things they should be thinking about, not just financially, because sometimes you might be financially organized, but a lot of what you suffered was abuse, basically bullying,
Yes, it
abuse, and things like that. So even if ultimately they couldn't get their hands on any money or anything like that, the fact is you still had to go through all of that sort of thing. So after the break, we're gonna, which is in about 10 minutes, we're gonna talk about what other women going through this now, what advice you have for them. And then a little bit, I want to take, because I think one of the things that are interesting is when somebody loses someone, and you as the person who's coming to sympathize with somebody, you don't know what to say. Okay? You don't know what to say. You don't know what's the right thing and the wrong thing, or the wrong thing to say. I remember my sister, it's funny, like, I think we had a family member who died, or who lost her husband or something. And I remember my sister saying to them, it's when you say sorry for your loss, that even sounds better. But imagine someone saying in Yoruba, Pele. Pele sounds like you fell over. Do you understand what I mean? Like you've fallen over and they're saying sorry. But and it was like, okay, like we were kind of like, it wasn't the right. It wasn't anything bad, but Pele sounds is sorry, but the way it's said, it's like
it's like it's a different
you're
layers
hurting, you're hurting in the physical sense, not so much
the soul and everything.
Exactly. So it was kind of like kind of moment. So we want to talk about, so when we come back, I definitely want to talk to you about what people shouldn't say, or is there the right thing to say, and stuff like that, and and how long do you leave it before you contact someone when you've heard they suffered a loss? That's another one, because I tend to leave it a while because I don't know how to face it. I don't know how to face it, especially the sudden ones. It's different when they've been sick and they're it's only a matter of time, but when you don't know and it's sudden, you know,
the shock of it, and I
yeah.
think you know, and I did appreciate that.
Yeah.
I wasn't. Eddie didn't just belong to me. You know, I realised that his passing affected. Like, so for example, my girlfriends would come to the house. They don't come to see me. They sit with Eddie.
Yeah.
Because he's a very entertaining character, very funny, great sense of humour, and my friends would always come under the pretext of coming to see me, and they would sit with Eddie. So when Eddie passed away, I have about 2 or 3 friends who have actually said to me that I find it hard coming to the house.
Yes.
You know, or they would try to fight the tears for my sake, and then before you realise they are in tears, I'm like, it's fine, because I appreciate that he wasn't just in my life, you know. So yeah, I think you do give allowances for how other people are feeling. I think what I personally have resented, and I know that's a strong word, but I have resented it a lot, is being told how I'm feeling.
Okay.
People don't ask.
Okay.
Not.
All right. We'll park that because I want to pick that up in detail after the break. So so looking at some of the messages we've had people say sorry for your loss, condolences. Someone saying, yeah, they're looking for wealth to see what they can get.
Yes, that too.
Yeah, they're looking for wealth to see what they can get. And I don't know if there were any questions there or anything that you want to take. How everything considered, how are you? Just generally, how are you?
Tired, exhausted. One thing with me, if you ask me how I am, I'm not just, I'm fine, I don't do that. I'm exhausted. And I think coming up to that anniversary as well, I feel that I was in a kind of reasonable place, but obviously doing the book and having to reread it when I thought that I didn't have to, there was just a couple of things that needed to be looked at. It didn't put me in a good place because, you know, contrary to what people think, writing the book was not healing. I don't see how it could be.
Really?
No.
Wow.
Because it wasn't a story of triumph. There is no triumph there. I've lost my husband, and that's the crux of it.
Yeah.
So it was a very difficult book to write that had a profound effect on my health.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been very tiring. You know, I can't express that enough, really.
Okay. I think just trying to see. I think someone's requesting to join us on video. If you have questions, can you please give us a call? I know a couple of people are requesting for video on Insta, but we might not be able to do that. The number you need to call is 07539 968 143. That's 07939 968 143. Shout out to the Omega page Facebook and those who are joining us on that page. Nice that you could be with us. Again, if you have any questions, the list will be taking your questions, and yeah, all questions are on the table. So the one question I do have for you is, you mentioned to me that you don't like being called, to be referred to as a widow. Why is that? Is it too soon?
I feel I'm obviously a widow. You know, I'm not trying to, you know, be funny in that sense. I'm aware of what I am. But I found that when you lose your husband, if you're not careful, you will lose your identity. You stop being called by your name. You're that woman that lost her husband.
Yeah.
And I hate that. Because even as a married woman, and I've said this before, my marriage did not define me. And I know being an African woman, it's quite unusual because we live for the ring. It's like once you're Mrs., you've arrived.
Yes.
You can now, look down on women who are single, or you can look down on women that haven't yet had kids. I've never been about that life.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. And
Yep,
I feel
I'm
that
with
I
that.
am woman enough to stand on my own, whether
I
I'm
suffered that for
married, whether
years before I got married.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think being married, I felt it was my responsibility to speak against that.
Yes.
Because it's something that I hated,
Yeah.
and I couldn't imagine not being married myself,
Yeah.
and people feeling that just by virtue of the fact that, I haven't said I do, or I haven't had sex and produced children,
Yes.
that I have no value and no
Exactly.
worth
Yeah.
and no purpose on this earth. And I think it's with the same level of resentment that I think that title, once again, categorizes you. And as women, we can't just be. We have to be something. We
Yeah.
have to have a label of sorts
Yes.
before we can have an identity.
Mm.
And I just don't like labels and boxes. I am myself.
Yes.
I was myself before I married.
That's right.
I will be myself after my husband has passed. I am the same person, but there is another layer to me because of my experience.
Yes.
But my experience does not define who I am as a woman.
That's right.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm with that. So, but it's hopefully there won't be too many instances where people have to say the widow, that widow, or or make references like that, but not obviously not to your face or anything like that. So is there in your book, is there anything that tackles financials?
Yes, because and I kind of wish I'd even spoken a bit more about it, because again I think it comes down to culture to a degree, because we don't like, as black people, generally speaking, we don't like to talk about death, or let me at least say Africans.
Yeah, Christians even worse.
Oh, so so in the book,
Try and sell life insurance to them. They're like,
because
I will not die
because we're
before
just
my
being
time.
stupid, and I'm gonna just put it out there. We are
Yeah.
just being stupid and irresponsible.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, people are going to die. Did Miles Monroe not die? Do you see what I'm saying? Nobody knows the future.
Yes.
We have a hope and a desire that we will get at least our 70. But that doesn't always happen. And the same Bible that we read, you can see it doesn't happen. Therefore, we have a responsibility to take care of those that we are going to leave behind, or we could potentially leave behind.
Yes.
It is important. And I do tackle it from a Christian perspective. Culture versus common sense versus, whatever, Christianity. Because, and I do use some of the phrases in the Bible where we talk about, with long life have I blessed you. So that's what we name and we claim.
Yeah.
But so where do we strike the balance between being spiritual and being practical and being sensible? That's the $64 million question. So I do speak about that quite a lot, that is really important.
What else is in the book aside from the advice and financial? Well, what else?
How to deal with grief, how we support people who are grieving, how it's important that you grieve authentically yourself. Because one thing that I was very clear on, I was speaking to my sister earlier on today, that I embraced every emotion that I felt. Because I was afraid that if I didn't do that, I didn't want to wake up 6 months later or a year or 2 years later and bam, I'm suffering from this, level of PTSD and not knowing what to do with it.
Wow. I want to pick up on the fact that because you and your husband are from different countries, different cultures, and both West African, but still different. And obviously they came for you in terms of the outlaws, outlaws came for you because they felt they could.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to talk a little bit when we come back about how when you're from a different culture to somebody and you don't speak the language.
I did that.
What are the things, how do you set yourself up? Not that you're planning for your husband to die, but how do you set yourself, how do you build allies? How do you build allies and with certain members of the family, or should you be thinking that way? or is there things that you should be doing to embed yourself in the culture so you don't get taken advantage of? Because even though you're not from Sierra Leone, you actually you speak.
Yeah, I speak
What's
Creole.
that language?
Creole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So you kind of
For
Yeah.
you know, some of those reasons that I feel that it is important to integrate. You know, it is important.
So guys, we're just been talking to Dilys about her new book coming out called Not This Widow. We'll be right back after the news, so stay with us.
The Amiga FM's vision is to re-establish the interests of the Afro-Caribbean and
Guys, we'll be back after the break.
in addressing the issues
And
of
you can
social,
phone in.
economic, and
So come, you can call in,
and most of all, the
come back,
ethical
okay?
The number is 0753
to address the
996
oppression and injustice within our communities
8143.
by combating these ever-growing issues.
Um,
A major effect
share it.
upon the black
Type it.
and other communities.
Oh, so
You
let
don't
me
type it.
type it. Oh, hello, Fernando, my darling, my.
The positive development of children.
I don't even know how to do this, so- Right, so I'm typing the number in the comments if anyone wants to ring in. So 0753 996 8143. All into the show. Okay, so I put the number. Hi Anna. I put the number in the comments. Hi Simone, Kweku Bimpe, Evelyn, Nanamafo, my darling Charlene. So sorry, call in 10 minutes after the news. So not now. Hi Chile. I'm doing okay, I'm tired. Trisha.
Hello?
Yes, all you wonderful people.
Hello?
So yes, we're on a 10-minute break at the moment,
Yeah.
so thanks
Yes.
for watching.
Yeah.
I am
Okay.
doing my second radio interview this week actually. I'm tired. Love you too, Chile, mate. It's been a long time.
Call on the air.
Um,
And because obviously the call goes straight on it, and they were like, "Oh, you're not live. You know you're not live." I don't know what that means.
So yes,
I can
so if you, it would be
And
great
I
to
don't
hear
know
from
why
some
they
of you.
call- Why did it
call
go
in.
straight on air?
That would be
Say
cool.
such-
Hi, Ifya. You're going to see me in Ghana soon because I am going to be launching my book in Ghana on
Because
the
they were like,
28th
you know
of
you're
March.
not
But we'll talk about that after I've done the one over here, and I'm still waiting for some of you guys to get your tickets. So yes, thank you for watching. Do share the love. You know,
No, it's of
So,
no use to me though. That's the
whatever
thing. It's of
questions
no
you
use.
have,
I'm live on air.
do
I'm talking to
ask.
somebody. I'm on Facebook Live. I'm on Things Live. I'm doing a recording.
Hello, Helen.
And you're calling
Hi,
me to.
Richard. Julia. Dinmar, all of you guys that have just joined. Ibn,
Was it?
great to have you on here.
So are you gonna?
Yeah.
Are you, I'll call you. So
So guys, you're very quiet. I know that you're watching, but none of you are saying much. Hi Kate. And I'm Ishetu Manye. Gosh, Sally, it's been a long time. Sally Waweri. Yeah, so we're just taking a break. That's the thing about being alive.
okay.
Just taking a break and we'll be back.
No, that's it. That's the same person calling me again.
So yeah.
Hello.
So do hang around, guys. We'll be back on air in a minute.
Hello.
And then you can call in.
Hi.
The number is 0753 996
Okay.
8143. So I would
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, thank you. If there's
I
a
nearly didn't
problem,
wear
you
earrings
just
today because of
message uncles because
I'm too naked.
I'm doing some recording.
So do ask some questions. You know, ask me something that I haven't been asked.
Okay,
before.
okay, it's
You know.
fine, it's fine.
You might be
It's
surprised.
back
I
on.
might
Thank you,
actually
though, for letting me
answer,
know.
you know, so it would be good. Thank you.
You don't want her calling.
And then somebody said, Richard said, I didn't think it was live when I clicked on it.
Okay,
When,
okay.
when you mentioned my name. Yes, it's live.
Okay, all right.
We're
Because
going
I
to
was
be
using my phone,
back
so I
on in
couldn't
about
call you.
4 minutes now.
Okay.
So yeah, so do share and let other people watch. That would be great. And
Right, the other thing is this fuzzy man thing doesn't work. The password.
Simon, what did you think? You said you thought
Is
as
it-
much. What about the earrings?
Is it capital?
For me, not wearing earrings is like not wearing underwear. I really do feel like something is missing. Or perfume is another one for me. So yeah, I'd be interested to hear some of your questions. Hi James.
No,
Thank you for
the laptop.
joining.
Is that all
Still getting
capital or
over the flu.
lowercase?
I'm still not feeling 100%, but yeah,
Yeah, I've got it.
I'm still alive.
Fuzzy. Yeah. M-A.
Oh, hello, Nana Marilyn. I didn't even see you on here.
N-A-M-E. Okay, that's what it was. 42.
And Rich.
All right.
Oh, hi, Richmond.
This needs to be written.
Hi, Richmond. How are you doing? Really nice of you to join us.
No, it is, but it's not written
We'll
clearly.
be back shortly.
Yeah.
See, this is why.
Okay, yeah.
Hi, James.
Yeah.
How am I doing?
Yes, I'm connected.
I'm okay.
Thank you.
I was just saying how tired I am, but I
Okay,
guess
sorry.
that's to be expected. Hi, Bookie. Hi, Essie. So yeah, I'm just a little bit
Uh-huh.
tired, but yeah. Happy New Year to you, James, as well.
Yeah.
Probably should try it and arrange to have something a bit stronger than fizzy water.
Uh-huh.
Good. I'm really hoping that some of you will phone in and ask me something interesting. Hi Amanda,
It's
it's a nice
the-
to girl. I missed a lot, so we'll watch part 2. Yeah, please do. It's been a long time. James said I've been watching about Meghan and
Okay.
Harry. What do I think about it all?
Okay.
I think it's disgusting how they treat
Okay.
Meghan Markle. It's quite shocking how anyone could think that
Yes.
that constant barrage of abuse and vilification will not have an effect
Yes.
on somebody's mental health. It's been quite horrible. So yes, just
Okay.
not good at all. And I think that the reason why the British press are pissed is because they didn't see this one coming. They
Yeah.
didn't think that they would just leave the country. In which case, you've kind of taken the wind out of their sails.
Hold
So,
on a
yeah,
second,
I
I've got an
think-
international call.
I
Hold
think
on.
it was a very good move, to be
Hello?
honest, on their part. You've got to look
Hello?
after number one. And I don't think
Hello?
any title or any role is so
Call back,
important
call back in
that
three
it should
minutes, in
permit
4
somebody
minutes.
to face
Ah,
that
4
level of
minutes,
abuse.
okay.
And,
Alright.
you know, like you said, that's how his mum died,
Hello?
as far as he's concerned.
Sorry, that was somebody.
And,
No, I'm
he's
talking
not
to
gonna
you
let
now.
happen to
That was
his
somebody
wife
calling from
and
international.
son. So yeah, that's
international
what I
call.
think about
Yeah.
the whole Meghan thing. I think Harry is the don. Enough respect. to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Simone. We don't
No,
disagree on the
no, it's not. I'm highlighting it now. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
10 minutes left. We've got
Yes,
3 minutes
yeah.
and then we're back on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, James, for real. I mean,
Uh-huh.
there is a lot that can be said for a man who protects his wife. You know, I respect any man that will put his wife first because that's how it should be. The two are supposed to be one.
It just
not,
says.
not 3, 4, or
Okay.
or
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Happy
Yeah.
New Year, Kia. How are you doing?
Yeah.
And guys, whilst you're on here, the book is going to be 99p on Kindle from tomorrow up until the 21st. So if you're going to get the
It's
Kindle
coming
version
up
of the
so
book,
slow. This.
this would be the time to get it. That's my gift to you in honour of Eddie. Okay?
Okay. Alright. Okay. So. No, it hasn't gone into there because my email's not set up, so it's that process is now happening. But okay,
Guys,
but I think I know what to
would
do
you
from
share
this.
the video?
Yeah.
this Facebook Live so that other people can watch. I'm going to start asking people to share my videos. I never ask people to.
No. I'm using the laptop. Yeah.
So yeah, do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then it'll get. Yeah. I'll sign into my email and do that. Okay. I've got a minute left. Let me just get myself together. Okay. Thank you.
I wrote a book.
All right. Okay.
Where have you been? Yes. So the book is called Not This Widow, and it's out on the 21st of January. If you look through my timeline, you'll see links, book trailer, everything is all there. And there's a book launch on the 24th of January at the Leonardo Royal Hotel. So guys, we're going to be on air in 30 seconds, so...
And that's the middle news. I'm the one Precious. Join us at 7 for primetime news on behalf of the entire team.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the news. So we're back on. We've had a few calls during the break. So if you called in earlier on, please do give us a call back. We're here and we're taking your calls. So with me in the studio is my guest, Silla. Why am I doing that? Silla, and we're talking about her new book coming out called Not This Widow. Dilys is an author. This actually is she's actually got another book out called Predator or Prince that's been out previously, but the new book, the one we're talking about today, is called Not This Widow, and that comes out on that's available on pre-order now, and it's available on pre-order on Amazon, and it comes out on the 21st and we'll be launching on the 24th, and we'll be giving you guys more details about that. In the meantime, I want to do a quick shout out to our Facebook and Instagram joiners. Thank you for joining us, and please, we're taking questions in the comments if you want to leave comments, but really we would like to, Dilys would like to hear from you. She'd like to take your questions, and so would I. So if you could give us a call, the number you need is 07539 968 143. That's 07539 968 143. Again, shout out to those joining us on 104.1 FM and www.omegafmradio.co.uk. Dilys, welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay. So before the break, we were talking about your book. So this book came about as a result of the sudden loss of your husband.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks a lot about what you went through in terms of during your grieving process, in terms of the challenges with family and in-laws who became outlaws, and I love that, I can't stop saying it. You know, and in-laws who became outlaws, and we're dealing with that. I wanted to ask you quickly before we talk about the advice you have for people, well-wishers. Can I call them well-wishers? What else do you call them? You know. Okay, so we've actually got a call from Ghana. Hello, caller. You're welcome. You're joining us live. How are you today?
Hello, very well, thank you. My name is Ifia Osayakotu. I'm calling from Ghana.
Okay.
I just want
welcome. I said okay, like you're calling from down the road. Sorry.
No, I'm calling from Ghana.
Thank you for listening to us. Yes. What would you like to say?
I just want to say congratulations to Dilys
Thank
Mhm.
you.
I think that it's not, I just want her to know that it's not just widows who will look up to him, to her, sorry, but I think that she's a great encouragement to anybody who have lost something very key.
Yes.
It tells
you.
us that you will lose something, but it is time to rise up again and do what you are able to do.
Mhm.
So, I mean, some of us look up to her,
Oh,
and
thank
she's
you.
been a lot of encouragement to most of us who have been following her. So I just
Yes.
want to encourage her to feel well done.
Thank
and
you
to keep
very
the
much.
Good work done.
Yeah.
And we'll be expecting her in Ghana soon to know.
Oh, you're gonna make me
Really,
cry.
well done.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh,
I really appreciate that so much.
Thank you
That's
so
so
much.
nice.
Thank you so
God
much,
bless you.
Kola. Thank you so much, Kola. We really
Oh.
appreciate that. I think another thing people don't know. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen you tear up.
You know what?
Yeah.
I do cry, you know.
Yeah.
People think I'm so horrible. You know,
No,
I
no,
do.
no.
Like, I do have water in me. It does come out through my tear ducts. Believe you me, I do.
You just, yeah. I was gonna ask, right, so there's a few things people don't know about you. Even though you're a speaker, you're an author, you were I don't
You're
like
gonna
saying
think I was a
were.
stripper.
You are a singer. Even though you like to say, you know, I used to sing and all that. She's an amazing singer. Okay, so let me just put that out there. That's one thing people don't know. But the other thing people don't know about you, you started. I like to call you an activist because I think it's strong people
am.
that are activists. And you started a thing called Who Would Hear My Cry.
Yeah.
And I don't know where you come up with this name. It must be an anointing because
I think it's
you
divine
know,
where these names come from.
yeah, and
To be
it's
honest.
like, let's switch gears a little bit because I want our listeners to know a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about Who Will Hear My Cry and that work you do around.
Okay, so I started Who Will Hear My Cry a few years ago because of basically online bullying of a victim of rape. And I was very concerned at the definition that we women had of rape. And I was appalled, to be honest, the fact that we are in this country and we are so, we were so clueless about what rape was and what it wasn't and what constituted rape. So I did a video about it, and the person that was accused of rape, his brother, threatened me with other members of their family. I don't know what it is with people in their families. But yeah, so they threatened me and they were, just basically annoyed at the fact that I had put this video out there, which didn't throw any accusations at anybody. I just basically gave the definition of what rape was, what it wasn't, and I spoke about consent, which was an element of my whole argument that I didn't think that anybody had considered. It was like, well, if a girl goes to a hotel room, she can't cry rape, as if location
has anything to do with it.
determines whether somebody can be raped or not. So that was why I started Who Will Hear My Cry, because of the number of women that contacted me subsequent to that had been raped and felt, and what was said to me was, for the first time somebody was speaking on their behalf without judging them.
Yes.
And that's what made me, it was a telephone conversation where I was like, well, who's going to hear the cry of these women? And that's where the name Who Will Hear My Cry came about.
From. Okay. I just wanted to give people an insight a little bit into what a bit about your background and what you do. Tell us about Eddie.
The kind of person he was?
Yeah, so we talk a lot. Sometimes I just think, we're here, we're talking about you suffering this loss, and the book is a lot about how you dealt with things.
No, I actually start the book how I talk a lot about Eddie, how we met, so it's not just this dry book that talks about and this happened.
That goes straight in, yeah.
No, actually,
yes.
Because I think it's important that you get to see that we are real people. And another thing is, when someone passes away, they are past tense for you, but they're very present for us.
Yeah.
So when I speak about Eddie and I say Eddie it's not a slip of the tongue,
Mm.
because to me he is.
Yeah.
In time, that wording may change.
Yeah.
So I will speak.
Even I noticed, because I struggle to say your late husband.
I hate. Yeah, I haven't even said that.
I struggle to say, so
Yeah.
I'm always saying, you know, your husband, you know,
Yeah, I
I'm always
haven't
talking like that
actually
because
used that term
I'm
yet.
struggling to say it.
You know, I've not actually used that term to say
Yeah.
my late husband.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. That's understandable.
You know, because there's a lot of vocabulary that kind of you'll get there when you're ready,
Yes.
and sometimes it will happen subconsciously, and that's why I'm saying that, you know, for example, I'll speak about Eddie and sometimes it's in the present tense, you know. Eddie as a person, okay, so again, stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
You have the wife, you have the husband. The wife's a bitch, the husband's really lovely.
Okay.
That's just standard. It's just
Okay.
it's just a cross you have to bear as a wife.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the man is nice, but that his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Standard, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So people would think that because I'm a very strong whatever woman,
Yeah.
that I was married to this mouse.
Okay.
Now, you know. You know.
Guess again.
No. And why would a woman of my
Yeah.
class and caliber
Mm.
be interested in a wimp? Because
Mm.
essentially that's what some people
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
would have liked to have thought that, oh, because you're so strong, or you know,
and he's
but
more
he's like
quiet.
this mumu,
I'm like, why do they think that?
because they're stupid.
It's just like,
'Cause they're
I get that
stupid.
all the time,
'Cause
but like
they're
with my
stupid.
husband.
Why
like,
would a woman like me
Mm.
want a man that's not a real man? Like seriously,
Mm.
only a real man could handle me.
Come on now.
Do you understand? So why would I want jumping? He's like, oh, yes, how high?
Come on
I mean,
now.
really? Nah, it wouldn't interest me in the slightest.
Yeah.
I'm too much woman for that.
Yeah.
Trust me. So yeah, so my husband was a real man,
Mm-hmm.
and very witty,
Mm.
brilliant sense of humor,
Mm.
like very, very sharp,
Mm.
very stubborn,
Mm.
could bear a grudge like nobody's business when he's ready. Trust me, used to drive me nuts. But very protective. He was very proud of me.
Yes. Oh.
That was one thing. Eddie was very proud of me. Like when I wrote the book Predator or Prince, and I
Yeah.
even put this in the book, he started a WhatsApp group, which I didn't even know,
Yeah.
to tell all his friends that you need to go and buy my wife's book. What I did love about him was when I started Who Will Hear My Cry,
Mm.
Eddie got really involved behind the
Mm.
scenes. So he would, I mean, I would be out and I would have like a newspaper clipping of some case
Mm.
and he would WhatsApp it to me.
Mm.
Or he'll record something, Dennis, you've got to watch this. He was very involved,
Mm.
which I thought, because sometimes I used to say I used to feel sorry for my husband.
Mm.
And I'll explain, yeah. The woman he married and the woman he ended up with, like two different people.
Yeah.
It's like I grew into my own as a woman.
Mm.
And whereas I was quite content, you know, of being a wife, doing my music, I just kind of morphed into this beast of a woman that was not taking no crap,
Yes.
was out there fighting on behalf of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there were times where he was like, what happened? You know, it's like whatever I was, I grew 10 times.
Right.
But that's testament to the man that I married,
Yes.
that I had the space to do that. Because there's a lot of women that, not that they don't want to grow, they're afraid of growth
Yes.
because they don't know how their husbands would
React.
respond to
Yeah.
it. Whereas I didn't have that
Mm.
at all.
Yeah.
And that's what a real man is. That's a man.
Yeah. It's a
That
priceless
is
thing
strong.
when you have a man that
Yeah.
100%
Yes.
supports you without any
Yeah.
hidden
Competition.
agenda or
Yeah.
competition
Yes.
or insecurities.
Yes.
Yeah. That's happy for you to just
Yeah.
shine.
Definitely. I mean, that's the one thing that people kept saying after Eddie passed away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my niece came to the house and, you know, again, you could see she was fighting the tears because what would happen is she'd come with my nephew and his nephew wouldn't come to me. I don't know if that child don't like me. But he would always go to Eddie.
Mm.
So he went into the living room and obviously Eddie's not there.
Mm.
And he's looking around and then because he couldn't articulate,
Yeah.
then he, you know, went back to his mum.
Mm.
And you know, when my niece was talking to me, she was in the kitchen, and you could see she was doing stuff, but I could tell that she was this close to bursting into. In the end, she just couldn't hold it anymore. And I said, "It's fine, it's okay," because I understand, you know, how people feel when they come to the house, because he was a very larger than life character. And Eddie could hold court, and he was very intelligent. When it came to anything to do with current affairs, history, like if you say to Eddie, "Oh, I'm from the Seychelles," Eddie will give you a running commentary on your history, how that land was. You know, it's, for me, I felt that we had the world had lost this huge knowledge base. You know, like with all that's going on with Donald Trump's impeachment and what have you, I don't need to listen to the news. Eddie will give me a rundown and break it down. You know, an idiot's guide to you know, American politics.
Yes.
You know, so in terms of as a man, I think, especially as an African man, I liked his vulnerability, because if Eddie wanted to cry, he'd cry.
Yes.
He was never afraid to be affectionate, and I'm a very affectionate person. I can't be dealing with these African men that can't hold their wife's hand in public. I'm not able, you know. I've never dated anybody like that before, much less go and marry them. So I am kind of spoiled, because what I'm used to, I know that it's not everybody's story. Like, for example, and this came up in conversation the other day, where I was saying about somebody went and asked my husband why I travel on my own.
Really? Is that a question?
Well, people try to do stuff, and I could only think that that would be the only reason why you would ask that kind of a question. But again, because he was not jealous in that way, if I've got work to do abroad, he's not going to say anything. You know, and I think that the dynamics of our relationship, it worked. Am I saying it was perfect? No, because there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. You only have a perfect marriage if you yourself are perfect, and we know that's not possible. So yeah, we had the normal challenges that married people have in terms of communication, you know, how to resolve conflict and stuff like that. So it was very normal. But you know, there were just certain things about him, the way he was secure in himself as a man, that made me respect him, because I don't respect a lot of people, and I don't mean that in a bad way. With me, you have to earn my respect. Titles and what have you don't mean anything to me. Show me the essence of who you are, and you will have my respect. And I respected my husband hugely, and this is why it was always so amusing when people would assume that just because I am this alpha female, that I have a problem submitting to my husband in the deeper sense of the word submit. Not that yes sir, no sir, 3,000. For those of us that know the meaning of the word submit, I don't need to explain it, because I don't have an issue with the man being the head of the house
at all,
because there's certain responsibilities. You should take those responsibilities. I don't want to share that seat with you, but equally there's a position I have in the home that you can never occupy. And this is where I think men and women, we get it twisted. We shouldn't be vying to say we are the same. We are equal, but we are not the same. And everybody has a crucial role to play within the home for it to work. And you know, it's like being a manager in the office. It's not a democracy. Ultimately, somebody's got to make a decision and lead and take responsibility for it. And I was very happy for my husband to do that.
I love that what you just said, we're equal where we are not the same. And I think we get the two mixed up. We do get it twisted. And that's where it gets confusing, because if you say to someone that, you know, you're equal to a man, they'll be like, no, I'm not. But you're equal, but you're not the same.
And when
you're not the same, there's always going to be something that sets you apart from that person.
And I think as women, we should celebrate that, you know.
Absolutely.
I don't see why we should be afraid to be feminine feminists.
Yes.
You know, I think, you know, we all have a role to play that is crucial. There's things that I could do that my husband could never do, like carry children.
Yes.
You know, so we just have to, you know, appreciate that. And I was fortunate because I did have that. I was with Eddie for 17 years, you know, and I had a good life.
So I want to talk a little bit about what you shouldn't do, or what you should, or how you should do. So again, bearing in mind that everybody grieves differently. Individually, we're different. So this might not always, I want to just put this disclaimer out there, that it might not apply to everybody in the same way. But I think because you've suffered such a loss, you could help some of us to understand, at least if we can follow some of the steps, we might be a little bit halfway there to getting it right. Okay, because nobody sets out to want to offend someone who's just lost someone. At least most of us don't.
Yeah,
You know, don't want to do that. But when you hear someone suffer the loss, is there a right thing to do or not do? Or and then does it depend on the relationship
I
you
think
have with
it
the
depends
person?
on all the things that you've mentioned.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the things that I didn't like, I had never done to anyone who had suffered a loss. And I think by nature I'm somebody that's very sensitive,
Okay.
and I think a lot. Before I open my mouth, I won't just say things. I think there are a few things that I really didn't like were the
Okay.
cliches.
Yes.
Don't give me your BS. I'm not interested
Okay.
because I know that it's just a cliche.
Okay, give me the cliche.
He's in a better place. Don't piss
Okay.
me off, sorry. And I had to ask somebody, how do you know? Have you been there? Such was my irritation. And it doesn't, you know, when you break it down, and I'm saying
That's
this,
a common thing. So let
Yes.
me.
but wait, I'm saying let me break it down so that you understand why
Mhm.
it is not helpful.
Okay.
Because for someone like me or anyone else that has suffered such a huge loss,
Mhm.
as far as I'm concerned, there is no better place for my husband than being with his wife and with his kids.
Okay. Is that to do with that moment or how you're feeling?
That's to do with me even nearly a year down the line.
Right.
Because the knowledge that, you know, on your belief system, whether you believe the person is in heaven or whatever, the reality of it, it doesn't make it any more comforting.
That's why I wanted to say, because as Christian, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
Okay. So as a Christian, I think what sometimes people do is if they know you're a Christian as well, they try and comfort you that way. So when they say things like, you know, it is well with you, or they
I
say
hate
things
I
that
hate it. Do you know what? Every single, because I did a Facebook Live about that statement, it is well.
Mhm.
And again,
Isn't that about speaking positive
no,
things
it's
even
not.
in a time
It's not.
of
It's not. I hate it. It's rubbish. And if people understand the origins of it, they wouldn't say it. It is
Mhm.
not for you to tell me it is well. It's for me to tell you it is well. When
Okay.
you read that story in the Book of Kings,
Mhm.
and it was about the Shulamite woman who lost her child,
Mhm.
when she was asked, she told the prophet, it is well. The
Yeah.
prophet did not tell her it is well.
Yeah.
So when you look at the origins of it,
So it's almost like when you say that, you're caging the person's
100%.
grief. Okay, I got you now.
Because when you're telling me it is well, what is well?
Mm.
What is well? At that point, that 1 minute your husband is alive, within 30 minutes of waking up in the morning, he's gone. How dare you tell me it is well? It's for me to come to that realization, to
Mm.
encourage myself, to lift up my spirit, to say to myself, it is well. But you cannot come and tell me it is well, because you don't know that.
Mm.
And if you feel that it will be well, then you go and pray about it.
Yeah.
And you lift me up and you hold me up in your prayer closet.
Okay.
And it's so funny because every person, and I have met a few widows, unfortunately, after myself,
Mhm.
and they have said the same thing. That it's like scratching an open wound.
Mm.
Because at that point, how
You want
do
to
you
scream
feel?
at them like.
I just had, it got to a point where I had to tell people, please don't tell me it is well.
Mm.
Or I would say to them, what is well?
Mm.
And one person even said to me, well, actually, I don't know. That's just what we say. I said, I rest my case.
Mm.
And we know that it's meaningless.
Mm.
We know that it's just being said because that's just what we say, isn't it? Well, don't say anything.
Yeah. And then I guess them saying that doesn't give you anything to say
No.
in return.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not comforting. You know, and at a time where every emotion is so raw, it's as if you downplay our pain by just throwing a phrase out there
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't mean anything to you, and that hurts.
So then, okay, so that's it as well. He's in a better place. Why is he's in a better place? Why isn't that comforting? Because, and I'll tell you this because he was a Christian,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Okay. So as Christians, we believe that, okay, and maybe they're trying to bring you a bit of comfort by saying that as a Christian, he
It
knew
don't
God,
make no
so
damn difference,
he's-
because if
he's
that
in
was
a-
the case, you wouldn't even be crying. You'd be like, my husband is in heaven.
Yeah, but the
Let's
crying
jubilate.
is
We know they've
about
gone to heaven.
you missing them. So this is me just being,
No, I
Just answer
understand.
the question
I
that
understand
people would
why
want.
people say it.
yeah.
But I said, I sat there and I actually
But
analysed.
it's not.
I've never felt the need to say such nonsense to anybody, ever.
Mhm.
As far as I will go is, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Mm.
How are you coping?
Okay.
I've always asked the question. I have never in my life, and believe I've suffered many, many, many bereavements, have I ever gone and given those cliche lines. Never done it before. And when you think about it, when you see a woman with her children
Mhm.
and her husband has passed away, him being in a better place, how does that help me? Like, really?
Okay. So it's not that you don't believe that he's in a better place.
No, it's not that.
just
It's like,
that
I don't need to hear it.
you don't want to hear it.
No. Because at that point,
Okay.
what does it do for me? He's in heaven, and so
Yeah. Okay. All right.
whilst he's having a
Is there-
party
is
up
there
there,
a
we're
time-
we're down here.
Is there a time that is okay to say he's in a better place?
What would be
Is
the
there ever
purpose?
been-
But the thing is, there are certain things I think it's for the person who is bereaved to say. It's not for you to say. Like, for example, when I broke it down on the origins of where It Is Well came from, people are like, oh, I didn't know that. Exactly, because you just say things without actually researching what it means and where it's come from. Because that story was very clear. When her son died, she said, "It is well."
Mm.
Nobody told her it is well.
Mm.
So even in its rightful context, it's not being used.
Okay. Okay, so I'll say this. So not so much as it as well. I don't really. I think I personally don't like using it as well when it's not well. Okay, because I think using I do use it as well, not in a bereavement kind of situation, but in situation where I want to believe it'll be well.
Sure.
So I will say to myself, it is well, or if someone says to me something, I might be like, and I don't really, because I'm a bit of a bull in a china shop. So the way I kind of pull myself back in is by saying, it is well.
Yeah, so that you don't have to open your mouth and say
Right?
something.
Okay. So I don't have to go, to the left,
Yeah,
to the left.
yeah.
That's
I get
one
that.
of the reasons I do that. But sometimes I just want to be like, no, it is not well. It ain't well. Because it's just saying, what you did was out of order. It's not well.
Yeah. But you see, again, it's a very African thing
Mm,
not to be honest about how you feel.
yeah.
We wear masks all the time.
Yes.
Being
Yeah.
authentic is not our thing. Someone can do something really crappy. You're not allowed to be annoyed.
Mm,
God will do it. Oh, give it to God. I ain't giving it to nobody.
yeah.
Do you understand? We are never allowed to be real.
Mm,
And I think this is why people found me a little bit strange. Because for the first time, they're seeing this woman that doesn't care
mm,
about public opinion. Not
Mm.
not in a way that becomes damaging for my emotional and mental health. So for example, when you lose your husband, normally you wear black
mm,
for 6 months, a year, what have you. I stopped around 5.5, 6 months. I thought, I'm not wearing it for a year.
mm.
Not because I was trying to rebel, but there were days where I would wake up and I'm relatively okay as you can be under the
And you feel like wearing
circumstances.
blue.
But
Right.
then, but the moment you go and pick up that black tie, it's like, don't forget, you're a widow.
Yeah.
And that constant,
okay.
it was not helpful for me. I didn't think it was helpful for my children.
Yeah. Was
So
there
I stopped.
anyone who said to you, you're not wearing black?
People don't deal with me like that. this is where I'm very fortunate because of the way I am. People don't feel free to stand in front of me and talk nonsense. They don't. If they're going to do it, it would have to be behind my back.
Yeah.
But people do not feel. I'm very clear on my boundaries. I always have been. So I don't allow myself to be disrespected. It's people who are not very wise that do that.
Okay.
And they know how it ends.
Okay.
Because I'm a very respectful person. So
Is there
create my
anything,
boundaries.
okay, thinking about people who are close to you, and then I'm going to come back to the question about what shouldn't people do. Thinking about the people who are close to you, is there anything maybe you've done or not done, and they've called you aside and been like, because you and your sister are very close, okay, and said, you shouldn't, I can understand other people who feel like that maybe they're like, no, you should do less of this, or maybe you should do a little bit more of this, or you shouldn't have done that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it was being so expressive about how I felt.
Okay.
But other people, I was quite fortunate, the people that I had around me were like, well, actually, no, she needs to speak. If she feels like speaking, leave her to speak, because what you don't want is for her not to be speaking.
Yeah.
And that's what I needed. I did need. And that's why I said I embraced every emotion. If I felt like I wanted to shout, trust me, I'm shouting. If I wanted to be quiet, I would be quiet.
Yeah.
But what I didn't do was allow anyone to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
That I did not have, ever.
Yeah.
Because I thought, what I'm feeling, believe you me, I can't even describe it to you for you to know what it feels like.
Yeah.
So I just I did not lend myself to being told how to feel or to be told what to do. It's such a horrendous journey that no matter how much people empathize or sympathize, only you know what you feel.
Okay. The other thing I was going to ask you, again, because coming from Africa like we do, it's a common thing that happens. Has anyone spoken to you about remarrying? I know they won't dare speak to you about marrying a brother of your... But you know that's something that...
let's go there.
Yeah. So, has anyone spoken to you about remarrying
let's go
or
there.
getting out there?
I think let's go there.
Okay, go there.
So my husband passed away. Sorry, we had my husband's funeral on the 22nd of February. That was the Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we had a memorial service for him.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This woman comes up to me in church and says to me,
at the memorial service. Okay.
how God has shown her
That
that I'm going to marry one Oyibo. Let me tell you,
Oyibo, for those who don't know, is
white man. Let me tell you, what saved her was the state I was in. I was like a soulless woman. It's like I was there in body, but my soul was not with her.
Yeah.
I mean, even when Eddie
It's
passed
numb.
away, I didn't comb my hair until the day of the funeral. So from 21st of January to 21st of February, no comb touched my head. I looked at this woman and I just walked off. I would have slapped her. Forget that we're in church. I would have slapped her. If I was of my normal... What level of insensitivity and disrespect my husband's memorial?
That's I mean,
So crass.
yeah. Well, having had some time pass, and there are people, because
Okay,
usually
so-
they're not that insensitive. They usually wait
You see,
a month or something. Bloody hell.
I've had them slide up in my inbox and what have you, That's all. You see,
Not guys approaching you. I'm talking family members telling you need to go and remarry.
no.
You need to
no,
get
no.
out
You
there.
see,
Your
my
children need
family-
their father.
No. My family are not like that.
Okay.
No.
All right.
My mum, I know she's worried about me because for her, she's like, such a young woman. How
Yeah.
the hell did this happen?
Yeah.
She and my dad have been married, it'll be 60 years.
Yeah.
This
They've been
year
going.
for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
So I know that they're worried in that respect.
growing old together because they've had the privilege of having each other and
They
growing old
live the
together.
dream. They're living
Yeah.
the dream.
Yeah.
And I think
I saw a picture of them holding hands.
oh, they always are. They're so like they're very much like that. They're very close. So no, you wouldn't get people in my family doing that typical
Okay.
African thing. It wouldn't happen.
Okay. As anyone from the in-laws side, I don't know if Sierra Leonean, if that's in certainly in Nigerian culture, it's a thing where they try and marry you off. I don't know which tribe, but they try and marry you off.
To be honest with you, I think they'd more want to get rid of me than keep me in the family.
like, they'd be like, no, she can't go. We know what.
Like, oh, I said, yeah, let go, let go in business.
Yeah.
And that made too much trouble, do you big? Are you Sierra Leonean?
Yeah.
So you know, say the tea they talk, now truth they talking. I tell you. I say this woman, it's on board. No, so.
That's so.
Nine. So.
let us stay there. So, okay, so what else? So we've covered those two things. What else shouldn't people say to somebody, or what should they? Okay, let's talk about what should they say.
Just be real. And you see, this is
If someone is not that close to you, they're like,
just
they're
say
not that
I'm
close.
sorry for your loss and leave it there.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think the problem is people seem to feel that they have to come up with some huge philosophical revelation.
Yeah.
Or drop some scripture that everybody's going to fall under the anointing. It's not
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah, yeah.
Just respect the space that they're in. We're not expecting anything because you know what? It might come as a surprise, but there's nothing you
Yeah.
could say that would make it better.
Yeah. I normally judge people when they suffer the loss, particularly when they're close to me. I'll be honest with you. I dodge it. I don't call. I don't go around. Last year, towards the end of it, I discovered "sorry for your loss." The word "sorry for your loss,"
Oh.
and I say it. Unfortunately, I've had to say it more than I
Oh
would
yeah.
like to.
Oh, yeah. It's terrible.
You know, but I say, I do say sorry for your loss. So, is there anything else that people, what comforts you that people will say?
Sometimes you don't have to say anything.
It's not to comfort you.
It's not the words.
Right. Okay.
It's the genuineness of what I've been through, it really touching you. It's and that's the thing, it's not about words. You know, the beauty of speaking to other widows is we
Yeah.
don't need to talk.
Yeah.
There is an experience that we have gone through that requires no words. Like there's an understanding at a deeper level. Like we can start off a sentence and the other will finish it off. And these are strangers, people that, you know, I've never met before.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we are tied together by this life-changing, horrible event.
Hi, caller, you're on air.
That's it, love, Sister Asia. Maybe you want to take this off of here? It's me, brother, man.
Okay.
Pull out the wire for now.
Yes, so I don't know, I just think that there's certain things that connects you to a woman who has gone through that loss. And that's when you realize that words aren't necessary. And I think when you go and see somebody that has been bereaved, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. So there's a friend of mine whom I'd met. In fact, we were not particularly close because I hadn't known her for very long. But when she heard that I'd lost my husband, she came to my house. She's a lot younger than me. I could be her mum. And would you believe this girl came and sat beside me on my couch and held my hand for hours.
And that helped.
She didn't need to say anything. And it's more, you know, wanting people to just respect that this person is going through the hardest thing in their life. And if you're going to be there, be there.
Okay.
Honestly. Don't come if you're coming to tick a box.
What about people who, like me, sometimes who, because they don't know what to say or what to do, they stay away?
I think it's wrong. I'm just going to be really honest. I think it's very wrong and it's very harsh. I'm very fortunate, and I'm not saying this on behalf of myself. I'm saying this on behalf of a lot of the bereavement groups I'm in, and I hear these people say that nobody's called me, nobody's come to look for me. It breaks my heart. That's not my story. Up till today, I still have people that will be in my inbox who will send me a WhatsApp message, who will call me. You know, even a friend yesterday called, you know, because she hadn't spoken to me for a while. It's heartbreaking. Because why should it? Because it's not about you. It's about the person. I cannot imagine. I mean, for me, I'm probably not a good example because I'm a bit of a loner and I like being on my own. But for somebody that needs that human interaction, I mean, I'm hearing women say, "Oh, you know, I put on a mask and I don't cry in front of my friends because I don't want them not to come back." It breaks my heart. And I'm thinking, that's just terrible. You know, I rang one lady at Christmas because just no one there.
One of the things, so I recently had a friend who suffered a loss, quite a tragic one. Her daughter died. And I remember when she informed me, it wasn't over the phone, it was, she sent me a message, informed me. I called her immediately, because I mean she's my close friend. I called her immediately and I said to her, look, again, I don't know if this is right. I just said I don't know what to say. And first I started crying, and then I stopped crying because I thought, if you're crying, what's she gonna do? You know. So in the middle of me, like, so I felt like I was putting my burden on her.
I understand.
So I stopped crying, and then I said to her, look, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do in this situation. So you tell me.
That's perfect.
You know, you tell me how you, because I don't know what to say. You know, I said, if you want me to be quiet, I'll be quiet. If you want me to talk, I'll talk for England. You know that already. You want to go somewhere, let me know, and I'll arrange it. You know, whatever it is you want to do, you want me to
everybody did that.
Kick someone, I'll go and kick them. You know, so I was literally like that. You know, and it's funny because she laughed. I don't really think, because the funeral hasn't happened yet, so I don't even think she's not even nowhere near dealing with it. So but it's funny, I find that, you know, she just wants, first of all, she wants me to be around, and I'm thought, okay,
everybody's different.
And then she finds comfort in me just being around or just being at the end of the phone, you know, and you know, I didn't plan to, but I somehow make her laugh about stuff, and I'm thinking. And before I know it, everything I'm saying
is making her
laugh, and I'm like, that's not even my intention, you know, and everything. And but at least while she's not, because I know she's not dealt with it at all, she's not even dealing with it. She's just trying to get past the funeral, you know. And I think once she does that, maybe that's when other stuff will start. So I'm preparing myself to sort of continue to kind of be there. So so I think one of the learnings for me is to face
people
that sort
need
of tragedy.
you. They really need you. Can you imagine if you'd just gone AWOL on her?
Oh, I couldn't. I couldn't even. The other thing I wanted to ask you was around. Again, it's about, were there any other things? Because we've got just enough time. We're just never enough time. I want to talk about men, because women, we can be a little bit better at this in terms of planning and organizing ourselves and things. I'm just saying, maybe I'm being sexist, I don't know, but allow me, man. But how can men, I'm targeting men because when these issues come up, they always come up with the men's family trying to, especially traditionally with Africa, it's always the man's family trying to dominate, take control. How can men prepare themselves? What can they do now without trying to prepare for dying?
One of the things that I mentioned in the book is that I personally feel that when we have the traditional marriages,
Mhm.
that there should be somebody appointed in that family as the go-to person, so that there is a barrier between the wife and the wider family.
Mhm.
Because if there was a go-to person,
Mhm.
I would have been shielded from a lot. Do you see what
Okay.
I'm saying? So like an appointee,
Yeah.
I would have been shielded from a lot. And maybe that appointee needs to be revived,
Okay.
so that they are a buffer
Yeah.
between the family and the wife.
So by an appointee, we're not talking about. Define what their job would be, their role would
So
be.
their role would be the go-to person if there was any issues with wife. So for example, when Eddie passed away and we were in the hospital,
Mm.
I called one of his very close cousins, and I said to him, and this was the interesting thing, that look, I can't speak to anybody right now. So when any member of the family calls, you are the point of contact.
Mhm.
That would have saved me a lot of grief. For whatever reason, that role was not maybe well enough defined or acted upon enough
Mhm.
to be that buffer.
Mhm.
So therefore, people could circumvent him and come directly to me.
Mhm.
But I feel in order to protect the woman,
Mhm.
there must be somebody within the family that is your go-to person, so that she's dealing with one person
Okay.
or a couple of people at best.
Okay.
But having to do with different people, we are all trying to get a hold of me.
So how do you do that? How does a man do that without? So it's not like he knows he's gonna die or
But that's
he's
why-
about to
that's
die.
why I
At
said
what point? How is
Culturally,
that
that's
done?
why I said when we have the cultural marriage,
Mhm.
when we go and do the customary marriage,
Mhm.
that should be established.
Okay.
I'm saying that it's something that I would feel would be helpful
Okay.
if we could start to incorporate that within what we do traditionally. Because even though you have
Yeah.
people that you can run to if you have a problem, I'm not talking about people that get into your business, because the way Eddie and I were, we weren't really like that. You know, I don't believe I've ever in my 17 years ever gone to my mum and said, oh, my husband has done X, Y, or Z.
Mm.
But I think it is important to have some kind of structure
Mm.
in place
Okay.
that doesn't allow for that direct contact. And also the men have to grow a pair.
Mm.
Because sometimes the way these men act with their families, I was very fortunate. My husband, with him, if you
Yeah.
don't like his wife, he doesn't want to know.
It's not. Yeah.
I was very fortunate,
If you're lucky
very
enough
blessed
to have
like
a
that.
man like that,
But
you're.
there are some men who they feel that their mothers and their wives are equal. I have a son, and I've said to my son that when you marry, your wife is number one.
Mhm.
I don't need to compete with your wife.
Mm.
A lot of women need to catch that revelation
Yes.
and stop being witches,
Yeah.
and trying to,
And
you
it is
know,
a progress.
absolutely, and be too involved. But the
Yeah.
men too have to stand up and make their
You want to be
boundaries.
the mother and the wife to your
It's
child.
just
I mean,
ridiculous. It's disgusting. For me, as I said, I have a son, so it's not like, you know, oh, well, if it's you, you would see. I'm not.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't
exactly,
even. I wouldn't
right?
even encourage it.
Yeah. Mm.
I wouldn't even encourage it.
Yeah. Anything else aside from having a go-to sort of person?
I think for the women, don't stay in a marriage that is not productive.
Mm.
And I will say it and I will say it. Do not stay in a marriage that is not productive. You see, some of us insecure women,
When you say productive, what do you
as
mean?
in some of us women who are so insecure that
Mhm.
having a wedding band and answering misses is the be-all and end-all of
Oh
life.
Lord, you need to
You
come back so we
stay,
can talk about
well,
that. Yeah.
you stay in those kind of marriages
Mm.
where your husband has no regard and no respect for you, where he's sleeping around with all and sundry, and his family knows because they have accepted it.
Mm.
But let that man fall ill. It's not the
Mhm.
side chick that they're asking to come and look after him. They
Mm.
will have the audacity and the cheek to be looking to you
Yeah.
to look after their family member because they won't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if he dies,
Yeah.
you are the one that they will still show the same level of contempt and disrespect that your husband showed to his people when he was alive. I'm not into these kind of marriages that, you know, if you do or die. Never.
Okay.
You know, so I think those are the things we need to think about, because when he dies,
I really
Yes,
feel there
yeah.
isn't enough time.
Mm.
Like to
well,
there's
I've
so
just
much
opened a whole
I
list.
wanna talk about, but quickly I want us to talk about the book, the launch, and the venue. Where can we get tickets? Where, you know, we've already said the book is available out now
Yes.
on Amazon on pre-order. If you order now on Amazon, you will get your book for the 21st.
Yeah.
Okay. The launch is on the 24th. Quickly tell
Yes,
us
so the
about
launch
that.
is on the 24th. It's at the Leonardo Royal Hotel in St Paul's. You can Google for tickets on Eventbrite, just type in Not This Widow, it will come up, or you can go on my personal page, Dilys Silla, which is DILYSSILLAH. So you can go on my social media, you'll find all the details there. There's some VIP tickets where you get a glass of bubbly on arrival, you get a signed copy of the book, private, so that will start at 6:30 to 7:30, get premium seating, and it's going to be great. At the moment we've got well over 100 people coming, so it's a big event.
So tickets are still available on Eventbrite. Okay, just go look for Not This Widow. Okay, and pick up your tickets. The event is on the 24th. And for more information, please go to...
You can go to my page, which is Dilys Silla on Facebook. And from tomorrow, you can get the Kindle version of the book for 99 pence up until the 21st, which would be the anniversary of my husband's passing.
Okay, I'll have more details on my Instagram page as well, and Facebook at Asia F. Young Jones. Asia F. Young Jones. Dilys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
104.1.
Enough time.
You need like 4 hours block. Guys, thank you for watching.
Just never enough time.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll be back.
Over the government's rescue deal for
But guys, yeah, thanks for watching.
the support for the
I need to go and find a drink somewhere. Something. I think there should have been a bottle.
Yeah, but she do that piece to camera, just say hi, my name is da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for watching. Take care.
All UK airlines the same way.
Go and get your tickets.
Reserve a holiday for me.
Okay, so need you to...
Is that other guy coming through in a minute?
So who was that that kept ringing to say?
Oh, that's the next presenter. He's running
Yeah,
late.
he's
He wanted me to go over. But I think we should do. He wanted me to, if I wanted an extra half an hour on air and stuff.
And he said no.
Yeah, because then the news will go, and I just said no.
Yeah.
Because
You'll mess
obviously,
up your...
yeah, and also it's people are not expecting me on after 8, and then I just think to myself, you know, when you've told people they're going to be on air for this time,
Just
you
stick
know.
to it. No,
It's true, you know.
Yeah.
Stick to it.
I don't say como salon.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long for us.
So now you people that don't bug me so.
Say no swear.
You with them all.
Okay.
So basically, just introduce yourself.
Mhm.
My name is.
Oh yeah, she knows me.
You know, just introduce yourself. But
And
do you have
then-
the book at hand, like so she
I
can hold
didn't.
it?
It's not out yet.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
But just.
But we can.
So you want to say, hi, my name is Dilys Silla,
Just
and I have just been...
Okay.
It's on Barcelona.
Hello. Yes.
This rain.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So,
Are you recording?
Not yet. So just stand there, just say, introduce yourself,
Yeah.
and then just talk about, you know, here on Asia F. Young Jones show. Okay. So after 3, 2, 1. Action.
Hi, my name is Dilys Silla, and I have just been on the Asia F. Young Jones's show. It's been absolutely amazing. Sorry, so
So just talk something, you know, just like 2, 3 minutes.
I just talk about the experience.
Yeah, how
Okay.
it was. Yeah, you know. But introduce yourself so we know. Okay, so 3, 2, 1.
Hi, my name is Dilys Silla. I am a life coach and author
Yes.
of the book Not This Widow, which is coming out on the 21st of January. I have just been on the Asia F. Young Jones's show. It's been absolutely amazing, a wonderful experience. So do tune in on omegafmradio.co.uk and just spend some time with other guests that come on the show.